Hello, everybody. We're here with the next episode of the Tokyo FinTech podcast. And today our guest is Mohamed Roushdy. Mohamed is the CIO of Dubai Asset Management and the founder of FinTech Bazaar. Welcome, Mohamed.
Thanks a lot for inviting me. It's a privilege and honor to be part of your podcast.
Thank you very much for taking the time. You're one of the most recognized faces in technology in the Arabian world, I would say. You're a frequent speaker at conferences, and you've just been recognized by CXO Insights as one of the leaders, digital leaders in the Middle East. Congratulations to that.
Thanks a lot. Very much appreciated.
And so previously you've also been CIO of the year, I think. So what does such an honor mean for you, being recognized in such a public forum?
You know, it's really a great opportunity for me, and it inspired me much more to and encourage me as well to drive more and more into innovation and technology, and to look for more solutions, for our day-to-day issues, being a consumer, be a digital person. And as well, tells me that the effort I put with me and my colleagues last 1 or 2 years in innovation, it was recognized by the community. It's encouragement, and it is inspiration for me and for everybody really, which really put his hand and try to innovate, try to do something different. As I told my colleagues and all the time, let us to do something different. We shouldn't be do everything as we do every day like before. Today is an era for entrepreneurship. Today an era for innovation or disruption, and we should be part of this one and should drive it. And I think this award, it helps me and my colleagues as well being recognized and do more and more, inshallah, in the future.
So in your role at Dubai Asset Management, what are the innovation initiatives that you're focused on currently?
Yeah, recently we what we have done, we tried to do a digital platform. Dubai Asset Management, we are one of the biggest asset management companies here in UAE, and in Dubai we have a real estate asset management property as well, and we built a platform really for our customers, and platform from start till end. But a very interesting innovation we have done recently is using something called UAE Pass. UAE Pass is a digital signature in UAE where you can sign your contracts, any contract between you and your customer, you can sign digitally without any paper. And this one is recognized in UAE. Mm-hmm. And we were the first company really to sign our lease contract using UAE Pass. And I believe, this was a journey. When I started we started working with Smart Dubai on this initiative, and we were the first company to do this signing or using the protocol. And even some people ask me, why you are doing it for it now? Still nobody's using, I said, yes, because we have to be first. Means, I guess, because I believe that if you want to go digital, you cannot go digital halfway, we have to go digital full way, which means I cannot do everything, but still I have to sign my contract by paper. I need to get something which is recognized and then by the government, by everyone, secured and trusted. And that's why I went for what we call a UAE Pass digital signature. And now we are able to sign in your mobile. You can do all your activities. And this is very interesting nowadays because, with this COVID-19, we asked our people, our customers, don't come to the office. You can today do everything on the mobile. And this is really great. I said, it came in the right time. Right. You can sign digitally, you can pay digitally, and everything is digital. So, why you have to come to the office? You are at home, we are at home. And then that's helping us, our customer today. And we're very proud that we are the first company in UAE which is using UAE Pass for digital signing.
That's amazing. And so is there an ID attached to that as well, a government issued ID, or how does it?
Yes. Government has here what you call emirates ID. This is the initial one. But emirates ID, to be able to bring emirates ID into a mobile signing, they create the UAE Pass protocol. We have one for authentication. Just you can authenticate you can log in. Now today, if you go in UAE here, you want to sign into water and electricity company called DIWA or Itsat or other the government companies or the major telecom, you can sign by this UAE Pass and recognize you. You can see all your accounts and everything because linked also to your emirates ID. And the second level is signing and authentication, not authentication here, the signing. So you are able to sign a contract. So the signing one is the second level. So went for the second level where you have this app in your mobile, you are able, because we do an integration, so it will take you to the UAE Pass, you sign on by your user ID and password, and there's some kiosk actually in the malls and everywhere you can, for onboarding, you have to onboard only once. And even we took one kiosk in our company so we can help our customers at the same time to be on board. In such a case, you are able to sign any contract. The very nice thing here as well, if you want to sign a paper, like I'm going to send you to Norbert, I send you a letter now. And this letter, you would like to know, is it me signing or not? It's very nice here. I can go in the app. There is an app on the mobile app. And then what we will do here, you go to the app, you open it, and it tells you want to sign a contract, a paper. You said yes. It goes to in your mobile, documents. Choose any PDF document. You take it and you put the place where you want to sign. It takes the same signature of the Emirates ID, the UAE ID, and place it in the same document. And then it gives the information that this signed at this time by this person by UAE Pass. So now this is really very, I would say, it's very innovative. The team here from Smart to Dubai and others, they went into other countries. We were discussing with them during the journey in the beginning. They went to Europe, they went to Singapore, they went to many other countries worldwide. They have seen all the protocols, and they came with this one now, and this becomes the protocol for signing any documents in UAE. And we're very proud that we're the first one to sign today the contract. And I said, anybody need to renew a contract, to sign a contract today, he can sign it from home in his mobile. So it doesn't need to visit the office.
In Japan, we're still very paper-based, so I think that would be a very good solution to import here as well.
No, it is great, really. You should see. I mean, we can even have a session on that one, and it's very beautiful, actually.
To continue along those lines, what's the cashless payment situation in the Emirates?
Say still, the cash payment situation is growing, I would say, but still we have a big cash-based society in the whole region, But the move to cashless is very much empowered by all the companies, by everybody, and I believe it is coming to, there is some good progress in this area, but still the whole country cash is still there. Pay when you receive the goods, pay when you receive the goods is still there, but I think it's growing now from a credit card point of view. Everybody has a credit card, other wallets is growing. We don't have many wallets like the West or the other countries like Japan and like others. We have few wallets now in the country here. There are other countries, they have more wallets. So, but it's growing, I would say.
The typical split that you see between the young people is more adoption on the young side and the...
That is true. That is true. It's more adoption in the young and people, which is like, millennial and so on. Millennials, they have this one. And then other people, which is more technology savvy like me, like others, also try to do the same. So you can see there is a shift really to going for this one. The good thing here, it happened during this COVID-19, where is the central bank now and the banks start talking about the charges, the percentage, which I saw some article recently with one of my colleagues in the industry about the payment. The central bank is bringing also the fees down and asking the bank to bring the fees down for the online channels. So this also will help people to go and enroll, because some people said, okay, I pay this, even for our business, said, okay, I pay this percentage 1.5, 1.35, and this is the revenues going, So people start looking at this now to make sure also it's a win-win. And when the fees are down, then we are able to use the channels more. And this is, I think, everybody's pushing for digital channels, and the regulation also is helping.
Got it. And Dubai Asset Management focus is institutional and high net worth individuals, or is also
no, we are a real estate. We are in the real estate area, and individual and corporate real estate. It's a leasing real estate. It's asset management from a real estate point of view. I've been in banking for more than 25 years. Last 2 years was asset management, but from a real estate prop tech, you can say.
All right.
So I mix between both. So like, I was saying I've been working in different worlds.
You've done FinTech startups before as well.
Yes. Like I will tell you, I done a startups. Like it's interesting. I done 4 banking startups, which is just like I got very inspired to talk about being a main catalyst in one of the 4 banking startups in the region. And when you talk about a bank startup, we never thought about a bank to be startup from before, because we have all banks 100 years back. But 2007 and 8, a wave here of many banking startups. So many Islamic banking, Sharia compliant banking startups. So I was very lucky to be one of the first one I have done. I was the first employee, was the chairman. I was the CIO and the chairman, and I said we need to set up the bank. And the IT, they told, which is right, that IT does take time. If you want to start with technology, then I went there and we started the bank. So in less than 6 months, you imagine you have a bank, you have all systems implemented, you have 4 branches up and running, you have debit card, you have credit card, you have all the products in less than 6 months. While you are building the bank, building products, building systems, and bringing people as well on board. So all of these you have to do in a very, very short time. And I remember I had this presentation. This was the first bank I done as a startup here in UAE. And I have the title of my presentation was one of the MIFTIC in Bahrain at this time, 2009. And I remember the title of the presentation said, okay, the war room achieving the near to impossible, which I would say is true, because, we had a war room every day morning, because the startup, we have a date to launch, we cannot miss the date actually. And then we have to, like 2 months before the launch date, we have a war room morning morning time with the CEO, with all the management team, myself and the BMO head, to tell them about what we are doing, what we have done for the whole program for the bank. Of course, technology was the main part here. And then we took 2 months before to have this war room. And I said, okay, achieving the near to impossible, because you want to build the bank in this very short time with people, with products. And really, the interesting thing at this time, we went with very innovative products as well. It was not like a normal thing. We were the first bank at this time said, okay, you can choose your own account number. Nobody done it before. When you come, what people who done it a 7-digit number, so people choose their mobile number. You don't have to come and say, okay, I give you a number, whatever number. I said, no, you can choose your own number, and everybody was for his own mobile number. We can even, at this time, we were the first bank to give a debit card when you are in the spot and a checkbook. Nobody at this time has this instant checkbook and credit card. It was 2008. So I think innovation and doing great thing, different thing is very, very important for me as an individual and as a technology professional as well. And then later on, I done the 4 startup for banking startups. Of course, this is different from being a startup in FinTech, but it's a learning curve as well. You have to be agile. You have to change your idea quick. You have to make sure that your idea are really acceptable in the market, and you shouldn't be like fall in love with them very much with your initial idea, because you have to tweak it fast. You have to check the market. You have to get the response and so on. So I believe that's why I became passionate about startups, about FinTechs. I do help colleagues here in the region in their journey today. I mean, some of them are doing some very interesting startups. I could say challenger banks coming in the region soon, and I help people to try to come to the market as soon as possible from a FinTech and from a startup point of view.
If you look at the market now with the neobanks, primarily in Europe maybe, and they all use a new core banking software, right? So when you say now I want to build a bank in 6 months' time, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's certainly very possible. But 12 years ago, doing it in that time is amazing achievement.
True. Today, you have many other, ideas, but the bank is not the bank which we used to think about before. The bank is a FinTech company today. I said, it's not like you want a bank, go in bank, say retail, corporate investment, you have all the, no, you can have a product, and you start from this product, and they start growing, and becoming a full bank later on. So the ideas have become different today. I agree with you. Putting the core banking like before is a different story, totally different story. But today, I think with FinTechs, with innovation, with people come with different ideas, I believe now today we are in a much better position to really come with great ideas, to have banking with a simple banking, frictionless banking. All of this, what people need today. I need a banking on a mobile. I tell people, okay, mobile is a banking. Your bank is in your mobile. It's in your hand. It's not in a branch. You don't have to visit a branch or talk to somebody. Everything in your mobile. Today, the mobile is a bank. And I said, I have to thank Steve Jobs, because I was having a presentation recently. And I said, really, part of what we are in today, I said, is iPhone. People said, why iPhone? I said, because the first idea of a smartphone was iPhone. And because iPhone came, then we becoming having this idea that I can do everything on a phone. The screen, touch screen, and all this was not there before. And I said, this is the iPhone moment, I used to call it.
So from a Middle Eastern perspective, do you see the future competition in banking still being other financial service companies, or are there other players also getting into this market, whether that's telecoms or whatever, construction companies, even whoever it might be? What's the competitive landscape going to be?
That is true. What's happening now in the market, that what is going on is like all the telecom are entering into the field today. The biggest telecom operator here in the country, they having their own wallet few months back, and other people, they are doing their wallet as well. The wallet is a start. You start with a wallet, and after the wallet you go for financing, and since the central bank gives them the go ahead, then you start building around this one. So now it's true. It's not only banks anymore. Yes, here we are more may regulation is helping the banks here more like other places in the West, but no, it's coming. So now, since this telecom started, they are starting to build their own wallets and their own banking products. Two, some big conglomerate companies here or groups, they think about the same, because if I have 1 million customer dealing with me in real estate, dealing with me in consumers in supermarkets and fashion, whatever, then this customer base, I can do them finance as well. There are many different finances, buy and pay later. This is the concept become very much there in the market today. We will not call them a bank, but they are financing the customer today. So now the idea of being a bank, because I am getting a central bank licensing, it will be little bit, it will change a little bit, over the time. And then people will see the good finance in different ways. And I can see lots of wallets today, buy and pay later. Okay, it's a financing. I'm financing people goods and SMEs and so on. So I think that the equation is changing. Banks as well as responding to the same. So now we can see banking, the collaboration between banking and FinTechs become a reality today. Before it was like a zero-sum game. It's not at all. Everyone needs the other. These people come with an innovative idea. The other people come with a very good back end and customer base and end. So I think this collaboration is going on and happening and should be win-win at the end of the day. And what I admire today, even some of the big banks here in the region, they didn't wait for the open banking to come. They went, they create the API layer, and then they invited the fintechs to come and said, okay, if you have an idea, come and try it with us. So it's a very smart move as well. I don't have to wait the regulation ask me to open up. No, I can just go and open up by myself. So I think this is even very smart move from some of the banks. They create their own sandbox for a startup.
In all the other markets, you've got a bit the banks originally hesitating opening up their systems because they're fearful of the competition. And here it seems to be really healthy cooperation type of arrangement. In terms of open banking, do you have any standardization efforts or similar issues like in Europe or also in Japan where, you can specify technically an API, but then the semantics of what a certain field means and so on can also be very different. And so even if you have a standard API definition, the usage is still different and creates challenges for the fintechs.
No, here, honestly, there is no standard yet, but people expecting the standard will come after a while. And most likely, if it comes, people expect as well to be something very similar to what happened in Europe. So, and this is what's expected. That's why even people, which is they start opening their own APIs, they create their own APIs, they put their own also policies or processes around how to utilize these APIs and ask people to use them. But till date, there is no standard, but I get to know or hear also there is some discussion about having something similar. There is also a very good move that there's going to be a fintech office in the central bank here in UAE. And this is a good thing. As soon as you have something like that, then, the collaboration will happen. Because now I think in our market, it's very unique as well. Central bank is there. We have also something called the FinTech Hive, Dubai International Financial Service Authority, the FCA. They have FinTech Hive for, accelerator for fintechs, and then Abu Dhabi Global Market, which is another offshore place for all the fintechs and all banks and so on. And every one of them, they are working in their regulation and they have their own regulation. But the central bank as well is trying to have their own fintech office, and I think this will help a lot to bring all this together under the same umbrella.
How would you describe the fintech ecosystem in the Emirates and then in the Middle East overall?
See, I would say it's very interesting. The number of fintechs is quite, maybe a good number is high, but not obvious for everyone. There is some good initiatives happening. As I said, like 10 or 11 companies are being graduated or whatever from FinTech Hive in Dubai. I think every 6 months or a year, they have a good number. Some of these are really doing well. I could see there is some news about them. At the same time, you have Abu Dhabi Global Market. They are doing some legal framework for crypto exchanges as well. So this is another area as well, and then you have in Bahrain FinTech Bay, and they are very well in regulation, which is I commend them because they work very close with Central Bank of Bahrain. Then you have in Saudi FinTech who came last year, but they came very strongly as well. But because a big market, this is the biggest market here in the GCC. And then you have this 4, I would say, power center for fintechs here in GCC. And this is really fueling to a big time the fintech ecosystem. Even I could see interesting a few weeks back, one of the companies which they do invoice financing, Sharia financing, and they are doing the business. When I asked the fund, they have only a sandbox license from Saudi SAMA, from the Saudi Central Bank, and Saudi FinTech. So it's great. They are giving them a sandbox license, and they allow them to go to the market with some cap and so on. The same happening here. We have even FinTech or crowdfunding or real estate crowdfunding happening for leasing. We have others. We have also some robo-advisors in the market happening. So all of these are coming out of the FinTech ecosystem, which is really fueled by these 4 fintech centers. And I think this is what's helping the market. The only thing now I can say as well, what people here maybe complain a little bit about it is the funding, because of the market itself. The market is not big compared to Europe or the States. So of course, like I can say, like we have 50 million people or whatever in the whole region here. Maybe one more country in Egypt, for example, 100 million. Saudi 33 million. Here we are 9 million. There is 3 here. There is 4 there. So you can see that so now the funding, it become an issue. Most of the big VCs and so on, they wanted to have a mass. And it become, maybe a challenging for people which is doing their startups to get the fund. But I believe this is also, there is some kind of support from the government and from some VCs, which is you can see this. People come here, they do a very good startup because they can scale it. Maybe they can set up very well here in UAE, for example. But when they come scale, they go to North Africa, they go to other countries, and they are able to scale. So, but the funding, and it's one of the points which is people found it a bit difficult.
The other resource that's required is obviously the skill-based education or technology, innovation, entrepreneurship?
I would say there is some of these people which is with great minds, they come here. What people do the following, they come with the idea here, they do the design here, but what you call the kitchen or the place where they can do the development either in India or in Egypt or in Jordan or one of these other countries. To have everybody support here and development and all the company here, sometimes it's more costly because of the cost of living. Most of them, they do the idea here because the regulation is well set here in UAE and some of the countries. The support from the government, from the ecosystem is there. But if they want to do the development and the enhancement, this would be happening offshore somewhere else. And I think this model is working fine here. Of course, to attract people from Europe and others, yes, maybe the entrepreneurs, they came here because it's also it's not it wouldn't be crowded as in Europe or other places. So still here we are in the initial phase. So people which they capture the market here, I think they have a good opportunity to capture in some segments.
What is your advice for foreign fintechs that are looking at the region? What needs to be watched out for? What adjustments need to be made to be Sharia compliant, for example, if you want to tap into that market?
It's very interesting. Sharia compliant fintechs is something very high demand here in the region and it's still not tapped on very much. Especially, I can tell you, like, if you look at some very interesting model for fintechs is crowdfunding or peer-to-peer financing, peer-to-peer lending. And this is very good for Sharia point of view. From a Sharia point of view, you should, or Islamic finance point of view, you should really be part of the process, not to be a passive investor only. You should be part and you should share profit and losses as well. You should be an active part in any kind of financing. So this is like some of the interesting maybe fintechs here, which is you do non-Sharia, you do Sharia as well. And now we are having some more Sharia maybe robo-advisors coming because lots of areas which is especially for our area here, people maybe because of expats, you have majority expats in the GCC countries, and most likely they don't have pension, they don't have this investment for future and so on. So this is very important areas, not only financing, you have to look at investment and saving schemes, a pension scheme for people. All of these also we go very well with Sharia, the peer-to-peer financing, peer-to-peer lending, it goes very well with Sharia. And I think there was a study said 20-25% of the Muslim population here, they like to go for Sharia no matter what is, good or bad, like even despite the return, because of the, a religion point of view. Another 25%, they said, okay, if you give me the same peer-to-peer like the others, then I will come with you. The other 50%, they said, okay, I want really something superior, but it's very important for me too. So they have to also tap into this, like from a customer service point of view, from a product point of view, and so on. The only thing here, like people should very much examine their model and make sure that this model from a Sharia point of view is very, suitable to the place here, because there is some Sharia thought which can be different a little bit of difference between what's happening in Malaysia, what's happening in GCC and in UK sometimes. So they have to adjust this one because the regulation from a Sharia point of view, some variation is there. So if you have a product in Malaysia, most likely when you bring it in here to use it here in UAE or GCC, you have to make sure that this is the Sharia, like a regulation here, not a regulation, actually advice or guidelines, I would say. So this is very important. So not every Sharia compliant product which work in a country will work in another country because of this slight variation is there, and people should know about it. The other thing is it should also be, like as I say, authentic Sharia compliant, which means you have to give the return and tell people they are really trustworthy and they are bringing really a product, not only a name. Because some people say, okay, I'm a Sharia compliant, I'm Islamic finance, and people when they go, they said, okay, well, what is the difference? I cannot see something which convince me that you are doing it as per Sharia or compliance. So it's very important. Sharia is not only a name; it's a study. They have to know how to sell and how to buy. It's like buying and selling. Actually, if you go to Islamic finance, it's mainly you cannot sell something you are not owning. It's like buying and selling. It's trading at the end of the day. So you have to know very much, be acquainted and understanding what is the Sharia means and how can you bring it to the market and how can be authentic Sharia from a process point of view. In such a case, I believe the market it's very open for such kind of products. So is either here or North Africa, even Africa, there is a very good demand in Africa, which is a very big continent. So I believe the demand is there, but the only thing understand what Sharia is important.
Is there a specific area or segment under Sharia law that's ripe for innovation that we...
I will tell you the most important one I will tell you for Sharia and even for other is the SME financing. I can give you some statistic about the SME financing in our countries here. In case there's some studies here, in case if for example they have 950k SMEs, 32% of all Saudi jobs are in SME, 46% of foreigners work in SMEs, 20% only of bank loans go to SMEs. You imagine in Saudi. Saudi. If you go in UAE, it's around 350k SMEs, and 4% only of bank loans go to SMEs. In Egypt, you have 3 million SMEs. It's a big country. Only 60% only of bank loans go to SMEs. So you are talking about a big segment really here, which is, it's untapped, either for Sharia or for conventional. And this is where really the peer-to-peer financing, why I say peer-to-peer financing or lending, because also the profit rate is going very low here now for many reasons. So people need to get some kind of income on their deposits. So why I don't, finance a colleague or a company next to me or a coffee shop or a shop next to my house, and then I got a good return and he got a good financing within a week, not 3-4 months. So I think the peer-to-peer financing or crowdfunding is a very good product which is needed here. I could see the payment and wallets, it's very much crowded today. I think lots of people working on it. I know there are payments, there is margins, there is something, it's lots of people doing in payments. But if I look at peer-to-peer lending and crowdfunding, there is few companies working here. And I think this is the area which is even as well will help the economy in a big time, because if you help the SMEs, you help the economy, people get more jobs, and then you get more return. So I think this is the area which I believe it needs some kind of investors and entrepreneurs should be focusing on it much more than other areas.
Sounds very interesting, especially if the banks are opening up the APIs as well on the SME side. You get access to the data for credit scoring and really advanced analytics. Do this with just a few people, right?
That is true. And I think there is many ways today with being open very much. You have the social media, you have many other channels to know about SMEs, about where they are, their position. Credit scoring as well they are very much working with SMEs. You can get some data from banks, from telecoms about them, there is many sources of information you can get. And I believe the company which is started into SMEs for financing, things are doing very well. But the only thing people have to have the courage and have to move in, because I think we have a small number of players in this area.
I think that's globally the case probably, right? If you look at...
That is true. It's globally the case. And unfortunately, this is where lots of development will help the whole economy, worldwide.
So in the end, many of the fintechs that we have today just give you a nicer user interface, maybe take out some friction, but it's not, as you started off with your 2008 example, it's not a new product, a little more shiny, but it doesn't really give you anything new.
That's right. This is what I told people as well, banking is you deposit and you finance. The middle payment and other things, this is like ancillaries around. So you have to come with an innovative product in one of these areas, because this is where banking, either I receive money in my savings, or I got money because I want to do a project and I want to grow, or do something more innovative. You have to come to the real needs of people. For example, here you have many expats in the region, but most of the expats don't have any pension, bro. There is no, because people here don't get a pension because they get something what you call end of service benefits in their company for 3 years and so on, but there is no pension, nothing. Why you don't come with a product for pension for the people living here for 10 years, 15 years? It's something new. Why we don't think about this one? So there is many areas really where we have to come with innovation, with new products, where fintech really can play a role. It's not only paying by card, and it's, yes, frictionless is there for payments, is great to have, but so what? After that, after payments, there is many other areas we need to have to look at, not only payments.
How many payments can you do per month, right?
That is true.
And talk about your FinTech Bazaar a little bit. What's the vision for FinTech Bazaar?
See, as I told you, I want to do a crowdsourcing, which can bring all the ecosystems partners here in the region. And this is focusing in MENA only, because other places is big. So this part need to have some kind of focus. And this can bring also investors and banks and FinTech together. That's one. And this also can tell, like what I'm telling you today, what is advice investors and entrepreneurs, what is the area you should focus on. So not only just saying what's happening, but we want to tell what should happen. So we can tell people, okay, this is the focus, will come with some analysis, and how is the development happening in the FinTech area in our market, what is the market needs, and where people have a focus. So we need to come with some kind of insights or studies to show people how to do that. Then after that, my idea later on is to launch something about peer-to-peer financing, peer-to-peer lending for SMEs. This is not there now, but since this is something I see, the market is needed. So I believe this is something we need to go for, and we need to try to push it. So this is the areas I want to do from a world bazaar, like to do some kind of, to help the community and the market, especially in places like Egypt, North Africa. It's a big population. There is lots of big market and so on. SMEs are around 3 million and so on. So this is what I'm trying to do in FinTech Bazaar.
We talked about one of your startups. Worth talking about the others in a bit more detail as well.
One of the startups I have done, it was the first Islamic bank in Oman. And this was an interesting thought because see, this is a different story when you are going for a country to set up a new bank and regulation is still not there. And you have to educate to work also with regulators about your products, about everything. And you are doing everything and waiting for regulation to come up. And it's very important for entrepreneurs when they move from a country to another country because you can get a good idea or a good product from a country, but when you take it to the other country, you have to start reshaping this product. So when you went to, for example, to the new bank in Oman, some of the products which is allowed here was not allowed there. So you cannot move a customer from conventional bank into Islamic because there is a product called Tawarruk was not allowed by central bank. They wanted to keep the banking okay. They don't, because that lots of people will be starting moving to Islamic banks and they don't like other banks to be affected. It was wise from them as well to say, okay, some products will not allow it for the time being. So you have to make sure really when you move from, it's very good to have an idea, but it doesn't mean the idea or the model will work in any country you go because it works somewhere else. Though the same market they need it, but they might need it in a different way. That's why I went for this, a very interesting startup or a bank. Of course, a bank is not a startup, a banking startup. We have to look at our products. We have to make sure that the product is appealing to the market segment there, and then we start working on it till we got, and we were ready, and we're just waiting for the central bank to say, okay, here is the license. You can go ahead now by this kind of guidelines. And so this was very interesting because also you're trying to educate people about what is this type of banking. It is something like you are introducing the product the first time in a market where you want to educate people. You have to explain to people. Also, the Islamic banking is not a charity. People think it's a charity. So it's not like you're doing yes for a good cause. It's ethical finance. But at the same time, it's just you're making to make business. The same way I went with one of my banks, Al Hilal Bank in Abu Dhabi here. We went to Kazakhstan to open our bank in Kazakhstan in 2009. And it was very interesting really because we went to their own Islamic bank at all. And we visited the central bank, the CMA there, the regulatory. They were doing only at this time their own regulation. And we got very interesting, very also a nice question from people, very humble question from people. Some people thinking, okay, I do that in my life. Is it okay to open a bank account in this Islamic bank? It doesn't have a relationship between what you do in your life and you open a bank. It's not like you're going for a worship, for example, So it was very, you learn a lot as well when you move and you take your product from one country and go to a different country. You learn from a product point of view, from people point of view, and from ecosystem point of view. All of these from a startup, you have to make sure that you're really being put together. Then you are able to make your startup running and successful in this place because it's done very well there. It will be done very well here. There is many aspects you have to take, not only product, people, ecosystem, partner, perception as well. All of these has to be taken into consideration. That's why even I see some of the very interesting fintechs in Islamic Sharia fintechs in UK, they call their a name. They don't call Islamic fintech or whatever fintech because some perception are there with some people, which is we cannot really, we know there's some perception about Islamic whatever. Some people have some maybe bad perception. They don't understand it well. So people, they call them a name and say, we are Sharia, we do it ethical finance, which is right. We get a good return. There is transparency there. We are making sure that you are part of the process. So all of these, so they are bringing the value more than the name. So that's why I want to talk about Sharia and so on. It's not a name. It's the value you are bringing. The Sharia got you a very good values from a transparency, from honesty, from all of this has to be there in the product from a Sharia point of view, Islamic finance. It means you have to bring the value, not the name. I need the value, not the name. So that's why we have very interesting startups in UK for real estate startups in UK, fintechs. They are doing very well for real estate crowdfunding and whatever. And I think they're doing very well, and the value they are bringing, and which is very important to tell every investor or entrepreneur in fintechs that the value you bring is very, very important, and people should see this very sustainable, and it's just not a name because it happens somewhere. You're doing the same, and I see some even startups saying, okay, we're done here, the startup, we're going to be the first one to open in USA. It doesn't make sense. Fine, you open anywhere. This is not really a value for me. The value which you bring to me here today. But if you are said I'm an USA or Europe company, you come to me here, it's great, but what's the value you're bringing to me here today in my market, in my ecosystem, and so on. And I believe this is one of the most important stuff people, entrepreneurs, should think about as well. Not only trying to maximize your market, become big market, but the value still is not big. This is very risky. You have to make sure that your existing customer base are getting the real value, and the best one really can make you grow is your customer base. The first customer for you, listening to your customer is very, very important. Not the media, not the putting lots of money in the media and so on. It might not really helpful unless you have have a value, you are bringing a value to your customer at the end of it. The value can be in a frictionless, which is good, but a product as well. Product, it's essential today, because copying a product, everybody can copy a product. Giving something unique in your product is very important.
And it should be easier to sell an additional product to an existing customer rather than acquiring a new customer, right?
That is true. And this existing customer will bring you much more new customers, since you are giving him the right product. And this is how we really organic you can grow.
I think Saudi has announced that they're going to do digital banking licenses as well. Is that right?
Yes. What my information is the following: there is 2 digital banking licenses. This is from the market only. There is some 2 digital banking license our people are trying. I met some of these investors and some of the discussion on the meetings. They are working on having a digital license, but it's not, as of today, is not really issued. The only issued license in Saudi is FinTech or crowdfunding or peer-to-peer financing license from a sandbox, which is like, a temporary license has been guaranteed, and people some companies are operating in the market by the sandbox, as they call it, or a temporary license. But the digital bank license, there is 2 group of investors, which is I get to know from some resources only, working in digital banking license, but still till date is not guaranteed. But they are working actually now in developing the banking the bank. They are developing the products and so on. And I had met some of these investors. Till date is not really guaranteed. So this is not happening as of now. And I would say it's a fintech, and it should be. I would call it a fintech, because a digital bank is a fintech company. We call it a bank, but it's a fintech company. How many products you will allow? You allow him wallet. You allow him a saving scheme. You are allowing financing. I think this is what's happening now. But till date is not really issued.
Do you see that happening in other parts of the region as well?
No, I would say if it happens, UAE and Saudi will be the first. I mean, Bahrain, I think they are doing very well as well. But it depends on what is the name of the license. But I know there is a bank, for example, there is a bank in Abu Dhabi, in ADGM. In Abu Dhabi Global Markets, they have one bank for trade finance. This is already there and operational. So the bank, which is like a digital bank, and it's there, but it's a trade finance, from a trading and supply chain point of view. This is already there. Very special. So are we going to see a digital bank license from a bank point of view, like have 4, 5, 6 products at the same time? This is what we have to watch and see. From peer-to-peer financing, we have a company operating in the IFC in UAE since a few years now, and they are doing very good in the peer-to-peer financing. Jordan, they have another company now doing peer-to-peer financing as well. So these few companies are there from a financial point of view. From a wallet and payments, there is number of companies, but from a bank, saying a challenger bank, something like Revolt or whatever, there is no license as such as of today in GCC.
What, in your view, is the opportunity for FinTech in terms of helping financial inclusion and getting more people into the financial system?
I think this is the focus which is happening in Africa and in Egypt much more. And there is some interesting fintechs happening maybe in Egypt and other places in Africa for financial inclusion. And this means either microfinance. There is one of the fintechs in Egypt about microfinance. Maybe they can lend people on $100 or less. The same as I explained, like, for financing, buy and pay later for small items. So I believe this is happening in these countries. Very interesting model happening here in the region as well for laborers, like the labor which they have very low wages and salaries, like $200 per month. So these guys, if they want to transfer money, it's difficult to have a bank account for a $600. So there are some people, they have the card and so on. There's some interesting company for few years operating now here and in Saudi, where they allow these guys, they do some deal with banks, and then they created their own fintech platform. Well, these guys will have an account there, and then there will be a bridge between them and the bank, and then they have it become like a financial inclusion. So, but this one, it's truly very important, and it's happening in here and in Africa, I believe, much more, especially big countries like Egypt, as they have few fintechs working in the financial inclusion and microfinancing.
So if you look out at the financial services industry very broadly, right, including all the other players that we talked about earlier, when you look out to 2025, what do you see happening?
Oh, I will see, I think 2025, you will do many of your financial needs or financial transactions will be online, digital, more than what we are doing today. I will be able to finance, I will be able to ask for financing or buy things online. And I believe financial inclusion, as you mentioned now, I think we'll have a very good number of people will be able to use their finance over the online because of the also penetration of the mobiles and the smartphones and so on. And this is what all the banks are trying to do now, is going through through the digital channels. So I believe like the fintechs, I think we have like how many billions last year? 39 billion, I believe. This was some of the studies. I think this will be maybe tripled or 4 or 5 times more. And bringing a blockchain in place was maybe by 2023 we'll have some more blockchain projects, and this will help a lot in the financial inclusion and will also help the banks to have some kind of trust and making sure that this security and so on. So I believe by 2025 lots of the products we are dealing with today will be, maybe some of them will change, because today I don't need to buy a car, I need to lease a car. For example, I told people they are still selling cars, maybe later will not buy a car, I will just lease a car. Why I buy a car? Some of these things you used to do today, you might not do it in 5 years time. Much more today after this COVID-19, we're all working from home. That means as well everything should do from home. Bank shouldn't come and ask anybody, say, okay, come here because I have to see your ID. Even the KYC now, which we have very nice, very good fintech platforms today, all your eKYC online. I don't need really to show you my physical card because I have to come. No, it's not. I think this is all has to go. So once we have this eKYC and all of this happening, I believe most of the transaction which we need to go to the bank today, it will not be there by 2025.
You called the end of the bank branch finally.
Yeah, I think it will be, unless I need to go and something very, very, very rare to go and really. And I would say, why I go to the branch? I can talk online like we're talking today. I think this, what happened during this COVID-19 is bringing the same. I can just talk to the bank branch today and I can get the ticket number the same way. Why I get a ticket number and sitting in the lobby of the bank? Let me get the ticket number. I'm sitting home. I'm doing my work. As soon as my turn comes, it give me a beep here, and then I start talking to the bank customer service. He can be at home as well, by the way. He shouldn't be in the office. He can be somewhere at home. So I think we are coming to this. Even what happened in the world today, I think is going to bring another ecosystem, for us how to interact, either in banking or different from banking.
The bank branches really become coffee shops and so on.
I think it should be. I think we are moving towards this one. Coffee shop, it can be in a cinema, it can be in a mall, it can be something else.
That's like one of the big Japanese banks. They've centralized expertise in certain branches. So whatever, for getting a mortgage, you only have the people in specific branches. And so if you go to another branch, then you will have a video call like this. And so by extension, you can really do this from home as well, right? And
that is true. I was in one of the banks, and one of the big banks recently in a visit as well. And then they have this kiosk as well, and you can talk to the customer service. And we talked to him. He was in another branch. I said, he can even home, branch become a home now. So you can be in home, you can reply to people, you can talk to them. And I think this is where we are going. I think we are reaching this after even this, what happened here with the COVID-19. I think this is brought to us, or, it proved to us that it can happen. It's not like before said, okay, no, I cannot, I have to talk to you and I have to come to you. No, now today you are at home with your safety, you can do everything online. So why you don't do it in normal life? And you save the planet as well from driving and using cars.
Plus the product gets better, right? Because you get the access to the expert no matter where you are. You're not geographically bound.
That is true. I can take you, if I talk to someone who doesn't have the product knowledge, he can transfer to someone else in a fraction, I don't have to drive the car or go to another. The world after this COVID-19 will be different from the world before. And I think fintechs and all online capabilities or online initiatives, the focus will be different. The way we're using will be different. Today we have Zoom, we have Teams, we have this one. I'm going to have much more in the future.
Well, I think we had the first call for the end of the bank branch when the ATMs came out somewhere in the late 60s or so, right? That was when Barclays installed it in London. After 50 years, we finally reached the stage where...
Reaching, yes. I used to say the same. Sometimes I told people, sometimes we said the bank branch will be finished soon. It would take maybe 15, 20 years to happen. Aspiration is there, the things are there, but how it will happen, this does take time. Even today, you have even people said, okay, you have an ATM for crypto. I said, well, you have an ATM for crypto. Crypto, you don't need, just people put it because a show. You have to go and put some buttons and buy some crypto. So you don't need an ATM for crypto. This is mindset has to go. I don't need an ATM for crypto. Crypto is crypto. It's online. So I think also as a perception and mindset not to change.
So you heard it here, the end of the bank branch. Mohamed called it.
Thank you.
Back at fun first time. Thank you, Mohamed.
Thanks a lot.
Great conversation. Thank you.
I really appreciated the call very much, and we're looking forward for more, and very much really appreciated
taking the time, and hope to see you in person once this all blows over.
Same here. Thanks a lot.